and talk about the lockdown because, you know, you talked a little bit when we just started talking. When did the lockdown start for you guys? Or partial lockdown? I'm not quite clear on. Did you have a full lockdown?
Completely locked down. We don't say we were forbid or anything, but we were told to stay home, to only go out when it's really necessary, and all the shops and all the restaurants and all the activities, hotels and stuff, even marketplaces, only some convenience stores were still open until 10 p.m. every day. So that was basically that. I still went out. When I could not stay home anymore, I went out with a mask on, and there was not a coffee shop. You know, Saigon without coffee shop, that is freaking crazy.
I cannot imagine. Well, at coffee shops and markets and like there's so much life on the streets, so all of that went away.
There's a good thing about the southerners of Vietnam. Well, I speak only about the South because they are my life, and I spent my lifetime learning about them and writing about them. So this is a great time to observe that they are easygoing people and very obedient. I have to say they're very obedient to the law.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have people running out like crazy, and but I did not sense the fear. That was what I would worry most, but I didn't sense it. They would just stay home, and there were still people going out on the street. That was amazing because since I was born, 1975, until now, I had never seen Saigon taking a rest. Even during Lunar New Year, we've got to go out there, we've got to survive, we've got to sell and buy that, and even during the Lunar New Year, even the marketplaces were still open.
Wow.
But this was the first time everything was closed. And unlike pictures that we saw from Wuhan through their worst days, everything was gloomy and really, really scary. I was afraid that would happen to Saigon. But Sageeta, it was beautiful. It was beautiful out there. The sun was shining, and I could see the Saigon, the quiet Saigon that it used to be. I used to witness that time as well. It was peaceful. And then I realized this is good. This is good for the city to pause, to take a rest after almost half a century, which is my age.
You and me both. Yeah.
Now it's resting. It doesn't have to be like the most productive city of Vietnam. It doesn't have to provide this. It doesn't have to work too hard to pay tax to the government or anything. Just taking a rest. Just to do that natural thing.
I love that it's not just people that need a rest. It's the city has not, and Saigon has not had a rest in not just 50 years. It's not had a rest in a much longer time, 1,000 years, really.
No, well, I could say 300 years. That's the length of the history of Saigon, not really of the land, but of Saigon. So yeah, 300 years, and now it's having its time. And now actually we're going easier on the locking down. Now we just like partially locked down, and I actually I'm missing that time. Or just because I have merged into
your bed.
No, I missed that time. I cannot get myself out of it yet. Like, no, I just go on, lock me down.
You are talking to me from your bed right now, right? This is your bed.
And I've become like, there were times that I was worried and negative most, that I could not go to church, and like usually I would miss here and there, now and then, Sundays, too many things to offer me to go out there and have fun. Sometimes I wouldn't go to church. But since I have to merge myself into my bed, I want to show you my tiny little church here.
Oh, I have seen, I think, oh no, I haven't seen this.
See?
Wow. So there's, yeah, I love it. It's beautiful.
I've even managed to have my Easter egg.
Wow.
The church is here. We have masses online, but we could go to the church afterwards to collect things like our palm leaf for the ceremony and the Easter egg. And I pray like right here in bed. And I have my rosary with me all the time to feel protected. Okay, with those who do not live the life of faith anymore, I might sound like a spiritual older lady and a fearful one. But there's this saying during this time that I really love, that when Lucifer said to God that, this is my trick and nobody goes to church anymore. Nobody goes to your home anymore. And God would answer him, but I go to everybody's home these days. So it's just another way to look at things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm one who believes in spirituality and an overall sense of God. I've never defined it by religion per se, because I think I've been exposed to a few religions. So for me, I kind of embrace all and none at the same time. And so believing in all of them and just believing in the higher power, the higher God. And I think during this time, I think that can be challenging for a lot of people to believe in like, what is the purpose of all this? But I also think there is something about this cycle of renewal, and this is a period of renewal, and I think that it isn't about us. I think in some ways there's going to be a lot of cost of human life, and that's not great, and that's not what I'm talking about. But there is the renewal that needs to happen for the earth, I think, and like you said,
we just passed Earth Day, and we're still in Earth Week. Yeah. It is perfect time to rethink everything. And my friends are sharing on the Facebook, like, congratulations, Vietnam, things are back to normal now. And I said, like, please don't turn things back to normal. We have to move on to the new stage of being, of treating each other, treating ourselves, and treating this environment around us. Please do not go back to normal, because normal didn't prove good. Normal was the reason why we ended up with this. And I do believe that this is just the beginning, and this is not a threat. Doesn't matter, people might say that this is all about invention of men, of some laboratory, but I think this is just the beginning. We're facing many other things. All those days of being locked down in Ho Chi Minh City, in Saigon, the app, the visual app, right? Air visual, turned green.
Right.
After all these years of being red and purple, we turned back to green. And in other countries of the world, we saw animals reclaiming their space. And that is the way it should be, people.
I believe so too. I think we have been very selfish as a human race. And this is a chance to see, there's so many lessons we can take from this, I think, in terms of how we coexist, right, with each other and with nature and with animals. And, we're seeing lots of positive stories coming out of this. We don't always get to see the positive stories. I think it depends on how, you see your news. There's a lot of negative stories. And if you get caught up in the numbers and the negative stories, I think we miss the good stories and things like the dolphins showing up again outside of Venice. Like
the dolphins!
Yes!
The dolphins!
Yes!
We see the dolphins again!
They're playing and they're frolicking, and it's like, and the air pollution, like you say, like they say, it's been the cleanest it's ever been in places like China, everywhere, I would say. And then, I mean, even down to the little things, like what do we do to amuse ourselves? Like, even though we're in isolation, the kids are still playing somewhat socially distanced, I guess, but outside in the neighborhoods. And I'm seeing more of that than I did before, right? So I think there's a lot of interesting, positive things that are coming out of this. And I hope, like you say, that we can retain all of this. It's not just a little blip where we go, okay, back to life as normal after when we go back to work.
We are not only in the hand of God. We can cooperate with God, with nature, with whatever that's going on around us to make it better if we learn. If we make all this meaningful. Is about the air pollution, about the society, about how like questions have been popped up for many other people around me. If you cannot spend time at home with your own hubby, did you really make a right choice? Or were you ready to step into the family life, the meaning of marriage and everything? Like, is that really the person that you are ready to spend 24 hours a day with, to wake up next to? You deal with your children. Were you ready to become their lifetime friends? That now you cannot spend time at home with those little monsters.
It's true, because if people, I mean, this is a
when the
chat.
schools were closed, and then you screamed like out loud on Facebook, like, open back those schools. I don't know what to do with these little monsters. I don't know them. I don't speak their language. Jesus. And we don't deserve many things that we used to think was ours, that we made it, that we chose it. Now we have to rethink everything. And I don't know what about you, but when this happened, I'm a quick thinker. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a believer. So I have to stack up rice. So I have rice and food and like all this canned food and dog food and cat food.
And do you cook? You cook, right?
Yeah,
yes,
I do.
You
cook.
always have, right? Or is this something new? Because some people didn't cook before.
Oh, I cooked before, but I was not like the type of, like, you don't see me in my kitchen many times of a day. Like usually we would eat out. I would run out. I would eat at the studio. I would prefer to take my laptop to a coffee shop and eat out. And I don't usually cook, but I go back to the kitchen and I can do pretty damn well, because my husband and my son are gaining weight helplessly. And like, oh, ew, I don't give birth to that.
These are the side effects. Yeah. We're all going to come
but
out.
I stacked up so much food that now we've opened back to partially lockdown only again, now that I still have food at home. And it's going to take me some time to eat all that up.
Well, I came from a family too where, like, my mom always had stuff stocked, like big burlap bags of rice and things like that. So, and we lived in a place where it could be winter for quite a long time. So she did it out of necessity more than anything. But me too, like I've been going back to the basics for quite some time. Before COVID happened, I started making bread regularly. And so, yeah, I was making chapatis, which are not easy to make. And I've learned how to let them rise properly. Like, it took a couple of tries. And so I've been going back to the basics of I don't need to go out or buy certain things, you know, and I've always kind of prided myself on making things from scratch, but I now have the time to kind of get better at doing some of these things and to experiment with some of these things. And yeah, and we're all putting on a little bit of weight, but what does that matter in the end?